from, and where like this is a bit of activity that I like to do just to know people a bit more. So share in the comment box, or if you want, you can also go ahead and unmute yourself. Share where are you from and which year are you in. Like, or if you are working professional, mention that as well. Okay, I think I have two answers already. So Pandya says he's from Vadodara. Hi Pandya, thank you for joining, and he's also from second year. And Shubhanil says he's from Kolkata. Oh, that's awesome. Then there's Ankit who's coming from Jaipur, and he's in his first year. And Shubhanil is also in his first year, but in the second semester. And then there is Amar, who's from Bihar, Krish, who's from Delhi, Svetakshi from Kolkata. Then there's Podingantho, there's another profile named, and he or she is from Jaipur. I see a lot of you are here from Kolkata as well. Then there is Titi, Pratyush is saying that he's from first year. Hi Pratyush. There's Bahar, and she is from Gwalior, and she mentioned that she is placed. And then there's Shubhanil from Hubli. Then there is Niluri from Andhra Pradesh. I hope I got that place right. And then there is Manoj also from Andhra Pradesh. There is Souvik from Purulia. So thank you so much for taking part in this activity. I see that you all come from different parts of India, and it's really amazing to have all of you here, especially on the Monday. I know Mondays can be hectic, be it for a working person or be it for somebody who is in college or school. I know Mondays are very hectic, especially after spending 2 days of holiday. Getting back to work or getting back to study is hard. So let's try and make this a session that does not add to your hectic routine. Let's make this fun. Let us talk, and we'll also do a little bit of practice of how community meetups are really, or what community meetups are really for. It's not a one-way conversation. People go there to network, to make friends, to have fun. So this is what community is supposed to be. And before we talk about all of that, a brief introduction about myself, even after Bahar has given such a lovely introduction. So currently I'm working as a developer advocate at AppWrite. And like she mentioned, AppWrite is, it is a base product, which means backend as a service. And if you have used Firebase, Firebase is the one that is by Google. AppWrite is very similar to that, but it is open source. So that is a bit about AppWrite and a bit on my experiences as well. Before working full-time at AppWrite, I used to work at Microsoft for almost a year. And then I used to be in the Outlook or Exchange team where I used to, support the on-prem products. That is a bit about me. And even before that, most of my learnings, it comes from communities like this. That is where I got to know what are the technical or tech stacks that I need to learn to get placed, or that is how I grew my network, and that is how basically I developed a personal brand of myself. So that is a bit about me. And in today's session, we will talk about my role, that is of developer relationship or of a developer advocate. There are two terms in it, and what it means, what it does, and if any of you, especially the ones who are in college right now, if any one of you wants to get into this role, so what are the steps that one should follow? And we'll also talk about communities. Maybe since you are in a community, and that is something that I would love to cover first, and then we can go on to about DevRel and what it is and how it can, shape up your career. And as we start, I would love to say that I am very happy to see some of the faces here. Hi Krish, hi Joel. I hope I'm pronouncing your names right. And if you have, and there's Pratyush as well. Hi Pratyush. So if you have any questions, you can either drop a message, and if I by any chance I don't see that message, feel free to stop me and then ask the question directly. Great. So first thing is, what is the community, right? EduHub is, EduHub, the name itself, EduHub community, says that it's a community and you are here for a community event. And it's very fortunate to say that now things have opened up and there are a lot of offline activities as well. Offline activities are 10 times more fun than online activities. And also it's sad that when I started working with communities or getting very involved with communities, it all went online, due to the pandemic. But I am very lucky right now that things are opening up, and then I had a chance to visit New Delhi. There was this annular conference, and that is where I got to know that how networking correctly, or or how having a personal brand helps you in such positions. So I'll also help you along the same lines, how you can go ahead and build your personal brand, or how you can network correctly. And basically what happens in communities is like the idea, it sprang up from the definition that um, you must be noticing that your college curriculum or your college course does not have everything that is needed to make yourself industry ready. I'll give an example. I did my bachelor's in electronics and communication, and I had to study about satellites and making circuits and breadboard. And at till date, I haven't used any of those concepts in my work life. And if like even as a software developer, you don't use those concepts in your life. But if you're doing computer science engineering, there are certain subjects like embedded systems, and then there is something related to networking and operating systems. Those concepts you use to some extent, but not when it comes to build products or build scalable solutions. So that is how the idea of communities mainly sprang up. And what it does is, like-minded people, like people who want to learn tech, people who love to share knowledge, people who wants to come together and build something, they come and meet in an area. And basically they do a meetup, and that is they share the knowledge. If there is if they bring up some expert speakers, let's say that there's an Azure meetup, and then people who want to learn more about Azure, or people who already know about Azure, or people who are building with Azure, they all come together in a particular place. And then they also, the organizers, they also call upon industry experts of Azure, where they share some knowledge and where they share some demos. And then that is basically what happens is, people are meeting together to learn something, to share their knowledge, or even to network with people. So I'll share you a brief experience of me going to this Angular conference in Delhi. So when I went there, since I still am very active in Twitter, and not very much in LinkedIn, but in Twitter. So I got to meet a lot of those friends whom I was talking online, but finally I met them offline. Then I also got to meet speakers who are developer advocates of companies like MongoDB. Then there is Scalar Academy, and then there are these big and small companies and people from representatives and software developers and developer advocates from all of these companies had come. And they basically, when you introduce yourself that, hey, I'm XYZ, I am a student, or I'm a working professional, this is what I'm doing with my work, basically you have a chance to network with people. And that is how more and more people get to know you. So that is all about communities, and how you can leverage them. And the most important part about this is communication. So when things are online, let's say when you have to drop a text to somebody and ask them for help, you just don't drop a text and say hi, and nothing at all, no context, no reason why you're dropping them an hi. If you want help or resources, or if you want to talk to someone, just drop them a brief introduction about yourself, that hi, I am XYZ, I am learning XY skills, I am from ABC college, and I have reached out to you because I need this help. Or let's say if you have reached out to me asking some tips about developer advocacy, and you say that, hey, especially if you're reaching out to me after today's session, you say that, hey, we met or we met to today's session by EduHub, and you mentioned these points, but I have tried doing these, and this is where I'm stuck. So there is a particular way by which you can communicate, and these types of communication often turns to be effective, and that is how you build your network and keep growing them. There are chances that somebody who is very busy might not reply to you at all, but what you can do is you can just drop them a text, like I mentioned, in the way where there is some context and there is no fake hi, because you need to be very, you need to care about their time as well and your time as well. So you can just drop them a text about your, drop them, give them a bit of introduction, tell them about yourself, and then tell that this is where I'm stuck. It would be great if we can have a chat about it, or a quick one-on-one, like a quick call on it to discuss more. So that is one about how you can, if communicate effectively. And I have mentioned about communities. Now I'll talk about what is developer advocacy, and there's a reason why I have mentioned about communication and community, because when it comes to developer advocacy, there are three fundamental C's. The first is code, the second is content, third is communities, and for all of these to bind together, you need to learn how to do, or how to communicate with people, or how communication becomes effective. Only then, when you have mastered the art of all of these three things, you can call yourself a good DevRel, or that is how you can be more effective in your job. And before I add more context to it, or what a DevRel does, how you can step into your career as a DevRel, does anybody have any question? You can drop them on the chat box, or you can also unmute yourself. I'll wait for a few minutes, and then I can go ahead on what developer advocacy is.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Pratyush.
Yes, ma'am. I want to know that how to build our personal brand in LinkedIn, Twitter. Actually, I joined Twitter some days ago. And Twitter tech community is very welcoming in nature. Also, I also various spaces also there, and it's an amazing. And but I don't know about LinkedIn much. Can you please?
Yeah, so for LinkedIn or Twitter, I'll give you an example of, people say that LinkedIn is the ideal place for you to get a job, or for you to get opportunities. But for me, Twitter has played the role of LinkedIn. That is how I got reached out for different opportunities, and that is how I got my internships. So what is important is people to know you, and let's say there are very famous people in LinkedIn that and because maybe that person is a great software developer, maybe that person is a software engineer, or let's say a product manager, or any other title in a particular company that you look up to. So these people, they have maintained either their own brand. Some people who are great YouTubers, like I'll give you a name. If somebody is learning JavaScript, Akshay Seni or Namaste JavaScript. So he has built his own brand around JavaScript. So this is a programming language. Then there are people from my ex-company, like Microsoft. You must be knowing him, that person works at Microsoft. So he has evolved his brand around the company that he works for. So you need to find your own niche. Let's say if you are a student and currently there is no company or no brand that you can attach yourself with. But what you can do is you can attach, you can tell people about yourself in the way you want them to know you. Let's say you want to become a full stack developer, and you want people to, whenever they think of full stack developer, a good one, they think of you. Or whenever they see some such opportunities, they think that there is Pratyush who is in his second year or first year of college and is looking for opportunities. Let's go ahead and refer him. So for you to do that, you need to have some amount of uh, presence in LinkedIn or Twitter. Else how will people reach out to you? And then for people to know that, you need to tell people. So how do you tell people? You can tell people by writing on Twitter that, hey, like tech Twitter, today I'm learning about JavaScript and this is what I did. And you can be consistent in doing that, in making posts, and eventually you can also start writing blogs of your own. And at the end of a year or after 6 months, you see that while you were this is known as building in public. What I just mentioned, that telling Twitter or telling LinkedIn that, hey, this is what I'm doing, and today I did this, tomorrow I'll be doing that, today I also did this for this your product or solution, I took help from XYZ tutorials, and you tag them. You also tag the social media handles of programming languages or people who who from whom you derived inspiration. And that is how, there are fair chances that these profiles might just be viewed, and they share it with the network, and that is how people get to know about your work. And all of these wouldn't come in one day. You need to be very consistent in creating content if you're creating one, or in learning and sharing knowledge, because all of these doesn't come in one day. Like I mentioned, it takes 6 months to a year for you to have at least 100 followers. If you're lucky, you can double them up in just few days. But initially, for a start, for you to start from zero, for you to let people know about you, I think that it's very advisable to be very consistent on your niche. If your niche is software development, somebody's niche can be marketing, somebody's niche can be designing. So know what your niche is and start posting about it. Only then people will get to know about you and what your skills are. And that is also a quick trick to get hired. If you see on Twitter, especially people who are on Twitter, you'll see that many openings these days are posted on Twitter, and they just ask you to retweet, and that is how on spot people get hired. So there's a lot that I can add to it, but I hope for now, Pratyush, that has answered your question.
To share bottle.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was just seeing some comments here, and I see that one interesting one from Krish, who says that he's a full stack developer who's transitioning into a DevRel, and he is just in class 9. That's amazing. And it's also great to know that you are a full stack developer right from your 9th standard. When I was in 9, I did not even know what this terms are. So kudos to you and your effort on doing that. And if we don't have, I'll just check the chats again. If you can speak a bit louder, please. Ankit has this question. Is my voice audible to all of you, or is it low? Shubhnil, is it low, or is it, the yes was for, is it low or is it audible?
It's audible now.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, moving on to about DevRel, and I think a lot of you must be hearing this term now, and even I wasn't very aware of this term until 2020. I'll tell you about my introduction to communities and how I got to know about developer advocacy or developer relationship. So when my first community that I joined was the Microsoft Learns to an Ambassador community, and that is where I met a lot of people, and they were all throughout the world, not only just from India. And that was the main start point from where my network and skills started to grow. And the community, it gives you immense support, and they give you as many resources and learning opportunities as they can provide. And most of these opportunities were led by developer advocates, and that is how I got to know what developer advocacy is. And then I found that it's a very cool job term and something that I would love to do in the future, because eventually when I started getting more and more involved with communities, I found out that this is something that I really like to do. But there are certain ifs and buts to it. And like I mentioned, some of the four core principles of developer advocacy or developer relationship is code, community, then there is content, and there is communication. So for you to become a successful developer advocate, you need to have some amount of software developer experience. Just don't dive into this role because you are heavily into communities right now. You need to have coding skills, because and then you might say that a lot of job descriptions that I see right now, they do not require any coding skills, because again, within developer advocacy there are different parts. So the first part, there is developer advocacy or developer evangelism. Then there is developer marketing, then there is community management, and then there is developer education as well. So the first one, what do you do as a developer advocate or as an evangelist? So as an evangelist or developer advocate, and also to let you know that only product-based companies have this role and not service-based companies. So as a developer advocate evangelist, you are basically you are champions of the product. I'll give you an example of Microsoft. So you'll see that they have this term called cloud advocate, which is very niche to Microsoft, and Google or Amazon or Facebook does not have this title called cloud advocate. But basically, they are all developer advocates, but they are for the cloud, or they are cloud advocates means that they develop advocates for Azure cloud. So, which means that they are aligned with only one particular product, and that is Azure. And by if you are a developer relations engineer or a developer advocate, you by any chance you are also advocating about your product to developers, and also telling people that, hey, this is the company that I am in, we build this and this, and currently my job is to let you know about this particular product. So that is what evangelism and developer advocacy includes. But this is this big umbrella, and that is DevRel, and within all of these comes into play. Then there is community management. For you to tell people what your product is, you need to go to community events. Let's say if I wanted to tell you what AppWrite is, I would just say EduHub that, or I would collaborate with EduHub and say that, hey, I'm the developer advocate from AppWrite. I would love to teach the students about AppWrite and show them how we can build some cool solutions. Okay, and then this is a community. I can either build my own community, or I can join some other community, and then I can go and speak. So as a developer advocate, you also get involved in various conferences. Let's say if you have very strong skills in Flutter or JavaScript, or even in or DevOps or other different tech stacks, then you find what are the conferences that are being hosted, and then your company, they either sponsor it or they fly you to that conference so that you can represent the company, and then you can speak about it and let people know about your company. So for all of this, so when you're presenting in a community, or when you are going to a conference and going to speak there, you make them aware of your product, and to make them aware of your product, you are giving a presentation, and that presentation is mostly in the form of workshops, which means that you are showing them how to build a solution. And these solutions or these examples are built by developer advocates. So when I mentioned that you need to have software engineering experience, or you need to know how to code, this is what I meant. For example, when if I just give you theoretical description of what AppWrite is, a lot of you wouldn't just enjoy doing that, and you'll be leaving the meeting in the first 15 minutes. But when I show you a cool demo, let's say if I show you how to build a nice game with it, or if I show you that how easy it is to get all your backend done in 5 to 10 minutes, and if I show you that with few clicks you can have something up and running, even beginners will like it, and that is how I will get my audience. And to do all of these, to build a demo or to build the content, that is where developer advocates come into play. So we educate or we build a community, and the backbone of all of these is code and content. Okay, and when it comes to community management, what we can do is we can build our own communities. I can have AppWrite meetups, I can have AppWrite user groups, and like I'll have to build that. It's not that easy as I'm saying right now, that I'll have it in different parts of the world and it will just begin. I need to invest my time in developers. I need to invest my time with people in building relations. Only then will they trust me and my product, and then they'll have a user group. So a major part of your work is to build relationships, and that is there in the job name itself, that is developer relationship. And if you see, I'm not sure if you've heard about terms like B2B, B2C, which means like companies, their business model is they are doing business to business or business to customers directly. And then there is another term that is coined very recently, and is B2D, which means business to developers. So companies that are developer first, whose main customer is developer, they need developer advocates to come to the play. And major part of my role is to talk to developers. Basically, we act as bridge, and that bridge is, you can call that bridge the community. So this is my product, this is the bridge, I can call it the community, and In the other part of the bridge, there are developers. So I talk to them. I understand what are the needs the developers have, and then I either build it myself. Let's say a developer comes up to me one day and say that, hey, your product is all cool, but they do not have Twilio integration, and we would love to see that. So me being a developer advocate, what I do is I say that, oh yeah, that's really a nice thing that you pointed out. So let me get that up for you. And then I start working on my end and try and integrate that, Twilio as the Twilio service into app, right? And then give it to him, not to him as a person, but to the entire developer community. And then there might be scenarios where developers come and say that, or they raise a issue or a pull request and say that, these are really cool features that you have, but there are some issues that are coming up, or some new features we would like to request. And that is where I see if the feature that he's requesting is feasible or not. uh, we do the product engineering on our end, and then we send it to the developers of our community, of our company. So that is how we are acting as a bridge between the developers and the company that we are working for, or the product that we are advocating for. So this is one thing there. And for developers to know about our product, we need to build content, and that can be in the form of videos, that can be in the form of blogs, that can be solutions. Like recently, an engineer from a team, for people who are active in Reddit would know. So he just cloned our place game, and he put that on Reddit, and that went viral in just a few minutes. So we are responsible for building these things and to bring in engagement. And also, let's say, you'll see that Web3 is now getting very active. They are doing a lot of meetups. You'll see that the blockchain developers or Unreal Engine developers are very happy. They receive a lot of swag. So we also try to bring in engagement from our end for the developers, and for that we host various events that can be offline meetups or online meetups, or we choose community experts. Like most of these companies, they have, like the product-based companies, they have huge fan base, and they can be either in Discord, or they can be in, not fan base might not be the correct word, like community members, and they can have it on Discord, or they can have it on Slack channel. So part of our work also includes to keep communicating with them, to and not let them feel that their voices are not heard, and also to engage with them. And for engagement, we also do a lot of different activities. Let's say we swags is something that developers and everyone loves, so we make sure that we come up with initiatives by which we're giving away swags, or making them love the product a lot more. So there is a lot of thing that developers do, and it differs from one company to other company. And now my concern comes in this way, that when somebody says that they want to be a developer advocate, and they say that but they don't really like the technical aspect of it, it means that you're heavily depending on developer marketing, which means you are just marketing your product, but you're marketing it to developers, and you're not doing any of the stuff that I mentioned. You're not writing content, because for content you need to have technical expertise. You are not building any solution, because to build solution you need to know how to code. All that you are doing is you are just marketing your product, and you're just marketing your product to developers. And to market that products, you will be doing something that is very similar to developer advocates too. And you might only be very community focused. You might only be hosting sessions with the community. You might only be talking to people, but you won't be doing the content stuff or the code stuff, or going to conferences, because people who go to conferences and meet people like the developer advocates, they are the ones who build the solution themselves. Or let's say if I go to a conference one day, and if I don't know how to solve queries related to app, right, or I don't know how AppRite is supposed to be integrated with Flutter, with JavaScript, with Angular, and different languages that we support, uh, it would definitely push away one or more developers from our company or from our product, and they would say that the person or the representative who came from their company, they themselves doesn't know how to do stuff. So why should we go to that product? And that is why when somebody asks me that what should a developer advocate do, or I want to pursue my career as a developer advocate or a DevRel engineer, what is something that I need to follow? I tell them that make sure that you have technical skills first, and then content comes naturally. Once you have built something, you can just, content writing, as you write more and more, it gets developed. And then the other thing that you need to be very good in is communication, because you are the face of your company, and the communications and the relationships that you build will carry forward and bring good to your company. So that in a nutshell is, I know I have spoken a lot, and I'll just open up the mic for all of you. That in a nutshell is what developer advocacy is all about, and what are the different, let's say, like, different realms under it, and what are the kind of work that they expect you to do. And basically, this is all that I had to share about developer advocacy, about community management. But if you have any specific questions around it, please feel free to unmute yourself or drop a question in the chat. I'll pick it up from there.
Ma'am, what are the difference between SD and the developer? What are the different functionalities?
Okay, so SDE are software developers, and what they do is they are involved in all the hardcore coding that people have. Let's say this, the platform that we are using today, Google Meet, and all the features that you see are developed by software developers. But one day, let's say you want to have something a bit different. So let's say you want to also integrate Zoom with it. It might not be possible. I'm just giving an example, and that is where you can go ahead and tell the developer advocate that, hey, this is what I want. And also the developer advocate will be the one who will help you and educate you about the product. They'll tell you all about developer. Let's say they'll tell you all about Google Meet and how you can leverage Google Meet for your products or for your solution. So what developer advocates do is they don't do the hardcore coding part like the software developers do. And what software developers do is they just do the hardcore coding part, but they don't write their own content. They don't go and build relationships, because these relationships will carry forward to revenue for your uh, company. I'm not sure. Okay, here. And so like, the people behind the screens are the software developers. For them, we have these amazing products, and the people in front of the screen are the developer advocates, but they too are very closely related. Developer advocates, like if you see what, when people get promoted, they also get promoted from developers to senior developers to product managers, and also to developer advocates or to principal advocates. So this is a career growth. If you are a lot of people or developers that I have met and are now developer advocates, they say that they weren't very, they got bored with just coding, and they wanted to teach, and they wanted to talk to people, and that is why they have moved to developer advocacy. So there can be n number of reasons why people move, but basically the major difference is we don't do the hardcore coding, and when we don't deploy features for you. But what we do is we make integrations, we make samples, we make content, we educate people, we also build communities. So these are the things that we do, and the software engineers do not.
Okay.
Any,
anyone? Yeah. Like, I'm just having some specific questions that I need to ask you in person. Like, if a person is a newcomer to the community, then how she should proceed with the work or anything from the beginning. Like, if the newcomer doesn't know how to begin up with everything he has to do, so how she should proceed with it.
I think that's a very nice question that you have asked. And the first thing is, this comes from my own experience as well, just to be involved with the community. Let's say if somebody has joined this community for the first time and they have no clue about what happens or what communities are all about, just being present in communities is enough for them. Just being present in events. If once they have been an attendee for 10 to 15 events, they'll get to know a lot they'll get to know how these events work. They'll get to learn from the experience of the speakers who come here, and they'll also that is how they learn. And after 10 to 15 events like this, they'll also have a bit of idea about what they want to do in the career ahead, and from there they can take it forward. So my first advice will be to just be present in the community, to know what is happening in the community. If there are hackathons, and if you think that you do not have any skill at all, just participate. The worst that can happen to you is you will lose, and the best thing that can happen to you is you will win. So losing, failing, failures are just a part of your life, and throughout your college life, throughout your work life, you will be coming across multiple failures like throughout your entire life. So the first step that for any beginner is to be present for the events, for the activities, and just to know what is happening. Make friends. You are here to enjoy, you're not here to do some serious stuff. Make friends, talk to people, have put on a smiling face, and that is how things will come up for you on your own.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful answer that I was really expecting from you, for newcomers and who will be wants to part of the community later on. The next question that I wanna ask you is what should be the important steps which need to be taken at the time of the budding years if someone wants to opt in the DevRel?
Okay, I think I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of getting or having technical skills. So the first thing is, please have technical skills, and that can be on anything. If you want to learn web development, go ahead and ace web development. If you And that can be in any language. It can be in JavaScript, React, Angular, anything that you like. And the next thing will be to start writing content, because that is a testimony for your work. That is how people will get to know that you are able to write or create content, and it will also help people to know what you have worked. So first, like the basic things. And the second, third nice to have thing is, if you have been a part of communities. Now there are so many communities. If you have been a part of them, and if you can show them that you have built a community in a place where there was no community at all, that is a great addition to your skills. And also, if you can mention some of the conferences where you have been a speaker, like the big ones, they act as a great addition to your CV or resume. And also, if you can give them examples of some of the initiatives that you have taken, and what are the impacts from this. So these are some of the points that can help you to have a good career as a DevRel. And I also see a question from Ankit, who says that how can you become a developer advocate as a first year student? I'll advise you, please don't do that. Go and follow this career after you have gained some amount of some amount of experience at least. That can be in form of internships as well. If after in your third or fourth year, if you want to become a developer advocate and you have already had software development experience, or similar experience as an intern, then you can go ahead and become a developer advocate. But before that, I would suggest you not to, because many companies, like small, big, what they're doing is they're using students only as they're using students only for marketing. They'll just add the terms developer advocate to your profile, but what they'll do is they'll not let you do any of the tasks that I have mentioned the developer advocates do. So I would suggest that for your first year, please avoid taking up this role. But a few years down the line, maybe after you have worked full time as a software developer, or as an analyst, or as a consultant, or any similar role, you can make a move. Or if you have some internship experience as well, then also you can make a move to developer advocacy. Okay, Rakesh says that B2B, B2C some terms are famous in Shark Tank India. Well, you are the generation that had Shark Tank India, but when we started preparing for placements that time, we needed to know, because this is not something that is only there in Shark Tank India, but every company that we see. I'll also give an example of my present company. They are not it's a startup. I'll give an example of Microsoft. So they are both B2B and B2C. If you have seen other companies like TCS or Wipro, they are all using Microsoft products. So what that means, Microsoft is selling the products from one business, that is from Microsoft, to another business, that is TCS or Wipro, so B2B. And Microsoft also has their own customers. Like I can go ahead and purchase a Microsoft license, and that is how I can also like be a customer to them, and that type of thing is known as B2C. So it has been there since ages, not only since Shark Tank. And we have a question from Coding Info, that how to balance between college study and community management. That's a great question. I would say that do it only if you like it. There are people I know who are doing very well in life, and they have everything that they wanted for, like the kind of job, the package, and everything else, and they were not at all involved in communities. So be into communities only if you are liking it, not because of some FOMO. So if you're liking community, you'll automatically make some time of your day to go to communities, attend events, or to be present and keep yourself updated of what is happening there. It's not something that should be hindering between your college studies, and this is not something that I would suggest you to give 100% of your time. This can be something that you can put in your routine for an hour of the day, especially when you're in college, and see if you like it. After spending an hour every day for 365 days, if you see this is something that you're really enjoying, you can start increasing the time that you're spending there. But I would highly recommend that you do not ignore your college curriculum and your studies, and also not ignore upskilling your skills, because in today's world, what is very important is your skills and nothing else.
Ma'am, I have a
Okay.
question.
Yeah, Pratish, go ahead.
Uh, so, as a beginner, how we can choose which community we should join or not?
Yeah, great. So Ankit also has that comment for me. And first thing is, what it depends. I can give you the names of different communities that are very active and are doing some great work. So the first one that I would advise is Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, because when I went there, I had almost zero skills, and from there I started, learning different skills, and they invited me for events as big as Microsoft Build, where I was a keynote speaker, and in such events, Satya Nadella is a keynote speaker. So you can imagine how big those events are and how much opportunities it can give you. And also, they also help you build projects where you are contributing directly to Microsoft repositories, or where you have blogs in Microsoft's tech community. So I think my preference will be that. Other than that, there are some amazing communities like GitHub Campus Experts. I would suggest that you follow GitHub Campus Experts after you're in a second year or around your third or fourth semester. That time is a good time to follow GitHub Campus Experts. And then there are GDSs. I think you have heard them, like the Google Developer Student Clubs or GDGs. So GDGs or these are all by Google, and they are one of the oldest, ones to come into this community thing. So you can find if so what happens in GDG and WTM and like Google Developer Student Club is, you need to have a chapter in your city or in your town, and they need to be led by people. So but for programs that I mentioned, the Google Campus Expert, GitHub Campus Expert, or the Microsoft communities, they are global and anybody can join, especially as a student. Other than that, if somebody is interested in DevOps, uh, and if you've heard about Kubernetes, DevOps is a great career field, by the way. Had I not been interested in developer advocacy, I would have just gone to DevOps. And so there are a lot of open source communities that will give you great opportunities, and such great opportunities that you can even start earning a lot from them. And I think most of you have heard about programs like GSOC, JSOD, LFX. So these are all from open source communities. And for such open source communities, you can join LFX, the Slack community. You just need to Google and you'll have the Slack channel link and from the repository, and you can just join that. And if you're interested in DevOps, you can join Kubernetes channel as well, because Kubernetes in itself gives a lot of opportunities. And most of these communities, they have their own job channels, so people they randomly post job updates and openings. And if you find something that aligns with your skills, you can just go ahead and have a chat with them and get employed. So these are a few examples, and like I mentioned that these are about your interest and what you like. There are a ton of them for software developers, there are a ton of them for front-end developers. If somebody is interested in front-end development, you can join those communities. And if somebody is into open source, you can join the community by Eddie. It's known as Eddie Hub, and that is also something that you can do. So it all depends on what you like. Let's say if you like JavaScript, just go to the Google. Google is your strongest weapon and your, the most nice to have skill that you should have. Just go to Google and search for your niche, for your something that you like, and look for communities that are there. And if that interests you, you can go ahead and join them. Yes, sure. I'll just drop them on the chat as well. Meanwhile, we are almost close to the end of this session. If anybody has any other questions, yeah.
I'm having one last question. Like, beside a developer role, like, what are the other tech domains where growth is really high? Like, I love to work as a front end developer, but like I really wanna explore some other tech domains too. So I just wanna know like other domains that where is the growth is really high, so I can also opt for that.
I think another one that is really interesting and it's also very high is DevOps that I mentioned, and people who are active in communities, Kubernetes, who knows about Docker, who knows Golang, and these are some of the few like Golang. And if you know Golang and Docker, you are good to go ahead with DevOps. And one of the very big company that hires a lot for DevOps is Red Hat. Then there are also other companies that are doing that. So DevOps is something that you can go ahead and join. Yeah, that helps a lot, of course, because that is how people gets to know how familiar you can get with the code base. Because to get familiar with the code base, you need to only then you can contribute, and how you are working with communities, or just a second. And also, it definitely helps a lot, because when you're contributing to something and you're not making just cosmetic changes, but you're developing or contributing a feature or solving a bug, that helps. And also about open source programs that I mentioned, um,
Now you can write itself. Is there anyone, or we just wrap up with this session? I'll just wait one more minute. If anyone is having with any sort of question, so just you can please go ahead with that.
yeah, we have some questions. I'll share my details there. also search about. I'm just putting in some more details. Just give me a minute or two. These are the communities that I've mentioned, but please do your own research. And I'm also writing down some open source program names that you can search and give a try. Thank you, Bahar, for giving my link. And I think, sorry, my LinkedIn link. I think we are good with LinkedIn. I also share my Twitter handle. I'm also very active there. So in case anybody wants to drop a text, I'm active in LinkedIn and Twitter a lot. I mostly reply to your text almost instantly. So you can go ahead and drop a text anytime of the day.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that is it. I have written down most of the things that I wanted to on the chat, and that's all from my end. Thank you.
Is there anyone, or we'll just wrap up with the session? I don't think any other questions are there from anyone's side. So yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for such a valuable and knowledgeable session where we get to know more about the community and the connections as how they are equally important in the developers community and are much more valuable, not only just working as a tech lead or a tech role, but also communication is a key need to move ahead in our career. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And everyone, please stay here. We'll be sharing you a feedback form. So after that, you will be filling up that. Then only we'll be able to provide you with your certificates. Okay, so stay tuned here. Till then.
Great. Thank you so much for having me here, and also for my very patient audience. It was lovely talking to all of you. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
It was really a nice session with you. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Bye bye.
Bye. Everyone, please fill up the feedback forms. Sahitya has just shared. And when you're done with that, please write it up down in the chat box itself, okay? And then you can leave as